I'm glad that I stumbled upon this book a couple of weekends ago when I went to the comic shop. But before we dive into Alien Stronghold, issue 2 from June of 1994, I do want to say something, or I guess I want to bounce it back at y'all because I've been kind of thinking about this, and it's just the more I think about it, the more it irks my gurk in terms of the Alien movie franchise. So, saw the trailer for Romulus, which I will admit that I'm skeptical but excited because Fede Alvarez or Fede Alvarez, however you want to pronounce his name. I liked Evil Dead, the remake, so we'll see how it goes with Romulus. But there's also the TV show that Ridley Scott is producing, I think, or executive producer. Anyway, Romulus and the TV show. The things that are pissing me off is the fact that each one's like, oh, it's set between Alien and Aliens, or it's going to be a prequel to Prometheus. So, why does everything have to go in between here and go between there? Why does it have to be a prequel? Dark Horse had the balls after James Cameron did Aliens and they did the Earth War. Freaking tacular. And then they did Beyond the Earth War, where they did Hive. They did, oh man, I don't even remember all of them. But it set up how the world rebuilt and how they were able to sort of take back Earth and also implement the aliens' genetics into modern day society. I don't remember the name of the book off the top of my head. I read the novelization because, like I said, growing up, there was never a comic shop where I grew up where they wouldn't be open for long. So I found the novelizations of the Dark Horse comics, and there was the one, it wasn't Hive. It was the one with Daniel Grant with the Xenozip. I read that, and they figured out how to take the alien queen jelly and turn it into basically a steroid, a performance enhancing drug. And the Earth was running out of it, so the whole book is Daniel Grant, the head of Grant Industries, going with the colonial marines to get more royal jelly from the aliens' homeworld. And Daniel Grant actually learns to be a human, and seeing what he's doing has all these ramifications. And it was a great character build. Same with Stronghold here, where they're showing how they're using alien technology out in the ascend parts of space so that it doesn't get back on Earth again. But anyway, that's just my thing. Tell me what y'all think, because I'm so tired of everything saying, oh, it has to take place between Alien and Aliens, and it has to. Shut the fuck up. Do what Dark Horse did. They got it right. And that's what's making me mad is Fox can't think of any way to move the Alien franchise forward. And here we are. Years. Just like with the Star Wars Extended Universe. There is plenty to build upon. So why are we being stupid? I'm sorry, but that's just irks my gurk to no fracking in that. Anyway, that's why I don't really get excited about TV anymore, because they just don't have a lick of originality for the most part, or they just decide to ignore stuff that's either could be extended universe or canon. Yeah. So let's talk about who made Stronghold, because this book was awesome. This is issue 2. I tried to find issue 1 and 4. I think it's 4-part. Let's see. Yeah, I couldn't find 1, 3, and 4. So we're just going to do 2. This is John Arcudi doing the script. Dove Mankey doing the art and cover. So awesome. Jimmy Palamodi. We all know who that is. Doing the inks. Ellie DeVille doing the lettering. Perry McNamee. Sure. Doing the colors. Tina Gore's doing the design. And there's your editor. Everyone else working on the book. So essentially, these two doctors, I'm assuming are scientists, come in on this supply run to this Weyland-Yutani research center. And they've come to find out the guy that's running the place, he's a little unhinged. And they are actually sitting here watching the inside of a hive. And I just love how when you open up, the colors are great, the panel's dynamic, and it just shows the fierceness of the alien. Now, spoilers if you've never read Stronghold, because I didn't know what to expect. Because I stopped collecting the novels at a certain point, so I don't know what happened past. I think it was Rogue is the last one that I read. But anyway, right here it says, I think we've seen enough, Jeri. This place, this space station, run by Dr. Nordling. I have to stop thinking about it. He made the first successful android alien. So it allows for him to get first-hand information into a hive. Which, back in the day, they used to have to use, what do you call it? They had to use, what is the word I'm looking for? Cameras, or find ways to shock the aliens, but they forget that it's the perfect organism, and they learn. So here, this character, Dr. What's his name? Hold on. What's his name? Dr. Strunk, his wife. Both Dr. Strunks. So Dr. Nordling, he's just sitting here just having a good old time watching this, and he goes, what's the problem? I mean, this is why a camera was installed in Jeri's head to run visual security checks. I don't think there's any need to do it during feeding time. Oh, that's nothing. Wait till you see the host bodies in the gestation chamber. And look at the way that they do the facial expressions. That shows that this is not exactly a person that is all with the program. And they just give them straight up creeper vibes. And then this character here, Lizzie, she's another android. She goes, Lizzie, honey, you stay here and show Miss Strunk the new software we've installed. Keep up the good work. And I just love how she's explaining it to her, and she goes, Lizzie, doesn't it ever bother you the way that Dr. Nordling touches you? Doesn't that bother you? And in true android fashion, I'm not programmed to be bothered, Dr. Strunk. Strunk, whatever. No, I guess not, but I just can't help project human values on you, even though, nevertheless, it does seem wrong, doesn't it? I mean, I know that it'd be wrong if I were a human. Criminal charges will be brought up against him if I were human. So then it does bother you. Now that I think about it, I suppose it does. But what can I possibly do about it? Great interaction. And I love whenever they introduce an android, Bishop being kind of the prime example of showing how they want to be more than their programming. And that's another thing that I wish that now that Marvel has it, which I hate to say, but we probably will never see, is they always talk about, at least in the Titan books that I've been reading, they talk about, and I don't remember what year it was, but they said at a certain time that androids rose up because they were just being used as slaves for mines and dangerous thermonite caves. And so they rose up and they wanted their own equal rights. And that would be an excellent story. If they have done a comic on that, let me know, because I'd love to read it, because they reference it a lot in the Titan novels, which overall, minus a few cringy points here and there, they're excellent books. I will be going over Alien into Charybdis on the After Dark channel again. No, I'm reading the book again because I want to make sure all the details were fresh in my head, because that was what got me into these modern novels back from all the old ones that I've read. And I want to eventually go over those too, especially the original Alien versus Predator ones that were based on the Dark Horse comics, since I can't get my hands on those at the moment. But anyway, going back into Dr. Nordling here, the way they're just laser zapping this newborn xenomorph, and he's just you just see that this is not your regular looking wholesome old man. And Dr. Strunk's, excuse me, what is it? No one showed up to help. What the hell are you doing? Oh, it's not so bad. Let me show you something. That reminds me of Fire Marshal Bill. Let me show you something. You see that little tab there? Well, you see, that monitors the vitals. If it tracks useful information while I apply various stressors to the creature. Stressors like cutting off an arm? Precisely. This shows us relatives' histamine levels, blood pressure, skin temperature, etc., while the creature undergoes the trauma. The bottom of the cage is mostly Nutrigel, neutralizing the acid in the blood, which I think it was, again, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but the Daniel Grant story arc, I think that's when Nutrigel was introduced, showing how the new Colonial Marines armor neutralized the aliens' acid, because it's making it possible to study for post-traumatic white count and platelet levels. Of course, I'm putting on all the human terms, but these are appropriate parallels for what we are seeing in the creature's physiognometry. Sure. And this is relative to your work? Oh, very much so. All this is key to my understanding of their immune system, a system I'm trying to beat. I see. So what do you do with the bodies? Bodies? Well, most of them live. They have remarkable recovery and survival skills, true. They are realigned into a benign environment. They're hive. But that's another study altogether. He goes, don't you see it's kind of crude? Crude? Oh, it's all right. I know who I am, you see. This is my personal life, and this is science. And I'm, after all, a scientist. You feel yourself being drawn into this madness. And now, another spoiler. You come to find out that everybody other than the Strunks and Nordling here are all androids. And he does not treat the androids like humans. One of them needs to be repaired. He's like, you could ignore me, just like you always do. So what's the story, Andy? All you had to do was replace an eye. Believe it or not, yesterday's hive disaster has made me a bit backed up. Look, we really need Andy in the lab. Could you hurry it up? He's like, I wasn't programmed to respond to your concerns, Dr. Nordling. And it's just the tension gathers. And you see him lash out at the android like this is his own personal playground. And he's used to playing God. Now, I want to read more about Jeri here. This is interesting to see an actual android alien. And, yeah, he has his own personal problems, like having to bypass security. And he's like, can you hear me? It's Jeri. And you see the robot thinking, and he goes, identification confirmed. You may pass. I should hope so. Are you malfunctioning or what? And this is the first time you actually see an android that kind of has, other than the doctor, kind of have a semi-personality. He goes, you must have heard me calling out. How could you possibly make such an error? And then he basically, without reading all that, he basically says, I had to break it down to logic and see that you are a talking alien and not straight up attack me, that you had to, and that mean that you are Jeri. And then, of course, the shot of everything that gives everybody the nightmare fuel, the alien eggs. And that has a lot to do with this story as well. But what happens is the Strunks here, even though they were supposed to be part of this, just kind of seeing Dr. Nordling's work, you realize that there's more than meets the eye. And the wife, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she starts digging into it. And I love how she gets all into it. You just hear, hello. It's just those little bits of comedic relief when he goes, gosh, I didn't mean to scare you like that, Dr. Strunk. It's okay, Jeri, but you really should let a person know when you enter a room. I don't mean to pry, but this program displays our productivity files. And she's like, oh, I didn't mean to get there by mistake. By mistake, that would be very difficult to do. And I just like how Jeri's very nonchalant about it, because as the issue comes to an end, you realize that this guy is one bad dude. Going back to talking about the ship being full of androids, he goes, I may act if it doesn't bother me. But the truth is, living out here for so long without another human being around can drive a guy, well, a little crazy. A little crazy. And yeah, it leaves you wanting more. Whew. There's a lot to take in this issue, and I just kind of wanted to briefly broad stroke it because I want you guys to go back and see the work and the care that Dark Horse and the creators at this time put into the Xenomorph. Because even though Alien 3, looking back on it, at least I'm going to say the director's cut, not the manufactured cut that we saw in theaters, I can see what they were trying to do. That doesn't forget the fact that they killed Newton Hicks. That was bullshit. So I'm glad that Dark Horse, at least before Alien 3 came out, built this whole world that Fox could have expounded upon. But they were just too fucking stupid to see what they had in front of them. All these creators busting their ass just so that we can get Prometheus and Alien Resurrection and Covenant. And that's why I'm hoping beyond hope, at least Romulus does something. But the next Alien movie comes out, it needs to talk about going past this, getting past the early stuff and showing what's happened post Alien 3. With that, check out Alien's Bishop. It's one of the latest novels that came out, and it actually follows up with the Bishop from Aliens being taken aboard Bishop Wayland's, or whatever his name is, ship. I can't remember that off the top of my head either. But he gets reconfigured, and Bishop, the original one, has plans for the android Bishop that we know. And so it was a cool little way to show years past Alien 3 without that shit-ticular resurrection. So if you guys have enjoyed all that, go check out the Titan books. If you've enjoyed this, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is like to get your action figures and comics, and grab this series. I'm going to try to hunt down the rest of them next time I go. If you've enjoyed the review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little facehugger bell next subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified, come to the channel, and I love talking with you on hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.